Hi, I'm Andy and welcome to Penntorr Cars Cornish Car Collectors. Please don't switch off. This is not a video about a man sat in a field with his Rover. Well, what a Rover. Sorry about that. What this video is actually about is me, for the first time ever here on the channel, sharing with you the entire car collection that I have. So please do stay tuned for that. You see, with all of this COVID and coronavirus flying around, much of the car shows of 2020 and 2021 were cancelled. So we thought we'd give it a go ourselves, albeit on a smaller scale. And we did just that right here in this field a couple of weeks ago. We hosted our first very own car show. It was brilliant, but my goodness, it was hard work. And that's because we hosted it over 3 days. On day one, we had the local school come up and see the cars. On day two, the Ford XR Owners Club came along. And on day three, we had a small family gathering here. Now, being the UK, got to mention the weather. And I'd love to say that it was glorious sunshine, just like it is now. But it really wasn't. Anyway, let me hand you over to me of the past. 2 weeks ago, in fact, as I take you on a virtual tour of the very first ever Penntorr Cars show. Hello and welcome back to Penntorr Cars Cornish Car Collectors, where you join us on a really special day, because today is the first time ever in our history that we've got all of the vehicles that currently make up the Penntorr Cars Collection together in one place here in this lovely field in Cornwall. Yes, all of the cars behind me, all their tyres are inflated, their oil levels are okay, they've got coolant in the coolant tanks. They started, they drove themselves into this field, and they're all clean. We're really excited today to be hosting, or over this weekend, the first ever Penntorr Cars car show. On Friday, we've got the local school coming up to have a look around the cars. On Saturday, my car club, the XR Owners Club, are joining me here to look over the cars. They're bringing some of their own. And on Sunday, we've got a family gathering here in the field. So join us as we take a look at each of the vehicles behind us. We've got 14 cars here in the field. So join us as we take a look at each of those. I'll do a little bit about each of the cars, and watch us as we host the show over this weekend. Now, the weather, typical for the UK, is not forecast to be great, which is a real shame. In fact, we've got thunder and lightning forecast on Saturday morning. However, fingers crossed, the weather holds out and we're able to have a good time in the field here with the cars. If you haven't done already, please do subscribe to the channel, hit like and leave us a comment. But for now, let's take a look around these lovely cars. So let's start off with a car that we featured before on the channel. Our lovely 1984 Ford Sierra 1.6 GL. Now, if you've seen some of our previous videos, you'll know that we bought this car last year from a gentleman in Wales, and we've had a little bit of restoration work done. If you haven't seen it, please do watch that video. We'll put the link in the description below. Now, this car is lovely. It's such an original survivor. It's in Nimbus grey with the blue velour interior. Being a GL, it has electric wing mirrors, which was quite special for 1984. This is a two-owner car from new, with the previous owner actually buying it in 1986. We've still got the original bill of sale for that particular transaction. It's a lovely car, starts and runs like a dream, and well, find another one. We're so pleased to have it in the Penntorr Cars collection. So let's take a look at the next one, which is this, our lovely 58,000 mile 2-litre double overhead cam Ford Sierra XR 4x4. Again, if you've watched some of my earlier videos, you'll know that we took this one recently up to the British Motor Museum for the XR Owners Club National Day and for Ford Nationals. Did 450 miles, absolutely with no problem at all. It's such a comfortable car to drive and a real joy to drive. Just sits at 70 miles an hour all the way up and back. It's a lovely car. We've had it since 2015. We bought it off the original family who owned it from new. And it's such a low mileage, such a great car that, well, really, we've done no paintwork to it at all. It's the later spec, so it has the later alloy wheels and the curved dashboard. A really special car for us, and as I've said before, the registration number is actually the initials of my son, so this one's going absolutely nowhere. What a lovely car, privileged to own. Let's have a look at the next one. Wow, look at this one. This is our 1993 Mark V Ford Escort XR3i Cabriolet. This is the 105 brake horsepower model. They also made a 130. And this is a two-owner car with 46,000 miles on the clock. We actually bought this from the lady who had bought it when it was just 2 years old, having originally been owned by the local Ford dealer for those first 2 years as a car driven by his wife. And the lady that I bought it from, a really lovely lady, she had used it really as a second car, her and her husband. And as she said herself when I bought it, it's only really been used to go to the shops once a week, to go and get a haircut, and on a couple of nice trips around the UK. Really special car. The red has held up so well over the years. We've actually had this one now for about 4 years. It's got these beautiful wing-back seats and the really nice 3-point steering wheel. I know that the Mark V isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I absolutely love it. It's one of my favourites and really sits nicely with the 4x4 Sierra. It also sits really nicely with the next car, so let's go and have a look. Well, this is a very special car. You'll probably hear me say that about most of them, but this one in particular, because this is the first car that we bought. It's the car that we've owned the longest in the collection. And it's our 1990 Ford Escort XR3i convertible, Mark IV. And it's in 90 spec. So it's got the lovely lattice alloy wheels, the trademark spotlights, of course, and this lovely Zolder interior. We changed the roof for a mohair roof some years ago, but the car was in the barn and had been in the barn for just over a year before we got it out for the show. And as I'm sure you will agree, it's really come out and it's looking splendid here in the little bit of sun that we've got. We bought this one 13 years ago. It's hard to believe. Had some really great times in it, and we'll probably put it on the road again this year, get the roof down and enjoy some of the sun. And when we do that, promise you we'll feature it on a future video. It's such a lovely car, and well, really pleased to have it in the show. Let's continue with the Fords. Let's move on. Well, this is a car that will be familiar to many of you, certainly those that have watched the last couple of videos that we've done on this particular car. This is our Imperial Blue Mark I Ford Focus RS. So wow, it's just splendid. As you'll know, we bought this car at a commercial auction last year. Been slowly restoring this car, bringing it back to standard as much as we can with the new grille, with the boot lid replacement, and with all the work that we've done in the interior. It's a wonderful car, probably the most desirable here, certainly the fastest, and wow, it looks great in this semi-sun that we're seeing at the moment with a little bit of water beading on it. In fact, if it does rain a bit, I'm not going to be too worried because the water beading off this beautiful Imperial Blue will look fantastic. On the subject of Imperial Blue, we actually have another Imperial Blue car. Let's take a look at that one, the final in the lineup of Fords. This one divides opinion. Our 33,000 mile Ford Sport Car. Now it's a Sport Car SE, so it actually has the blue and black leather interior. And for me, it is a more modern Ford Fiesta XR2. And controversially, I actually think that it drives better than a Ford Fiesta XR2, having had both. We did a bit of restoration work on this back along. I'm sure we'll feature this car in a future video. But well, I just love it. And looking at these two together, they look great. Yeah, it's going to divide opinion. I'm sure many of you won't like it, particularly in this lineup of Fords, but well, I just love it. Something different, something special, and really pleased to have it in the collection. This is the last of the Fords in the show. We'll move on now and take a look at the MGs. Well, let's start our MGs with this one, our trophy yellow MGF Trophy 160. And what you'll see as we go along this line of the car show is we've got all of the MG cars made in the 2000s. So starting with this one, as I say, trophy yellow, the best colour to get it in. They made around 1,500 MGF trophies, and around 700 of them, I believe, were in trophy yellow. Now this car is the best of the Fs that were ever made. It's got the K series engine which is upgraded to 160 brake horsepower. It's the only one of the Fs that actually had the 160 brake. And it's got bespoke wheels, bespoke lights, yellow trim panels, Silverstone interior, and I really look forward to featuring this car in a future video. We've had it about 5 years. It's done 49,000 miles. Proper collector's car this. I absolutely love it, but you've got to keep on top of it with the polish or else these yellow panels start to change colour. But this one, looking really good. A little bit of rain on it, nice bit of beading here on the boot deck lid, but really nice car, love it. Look forward to sharing it with you in a future video. Let's move on the MG range. And now on to this. This has got the same engine as the Trophy 160, the 1.8 K series, 160 brake horsepower in the MG ZR, the smallest and probably the prettiest of the MG Z cars. This one's a 5-door in X-Power grey, 80-odd thousand miles, and we've just had it restored. New wings and some seals put on the car. It's looking absolutely brilliant. We're definitely going to feature this one in a future video. Really like the car. It's got the straight alloy wheels on it and the Monaco interior with the grey leather inserts. I'm sure you'll agree, a very pretty car. As I say, the prettiest of all the cars produced in the MG Z range, and a hoot to drive. So watch out for a video on this one in the future. But moving along the MG Z car range, you know what's coming next, our MG ZS. Now, the Motoring Press said at launch that the MG ZS was the best of all of the MG Z cars, and this is the car in its best form, the MG ZS 180, with that glorious 2.5K V6 engine up front. It's a glorious car here in black with the Monaco leather interior, similar to the ZR, but this time with the red inserts. Now, we only bought this car a few weeks ago. If I'm honest, I only really bought it for the car show to complete this set and to share it with you and with my friends and family who are coming to see all of the cars over this weekend. Now, we've done a bit of bodywork to this one. I don't know if the video on this one will have gone out before or after the car show, you'll tell me, but if you haven't seen it, then we've had the bumper and the front grille sorted out on this car. We've also had the rear bumper sorted out, and we've put this on the back, the extreme spoiler. This car came with the more standard spoiler, but we had to put this one on. Watch the MG ZS video for lots more information about this car. Again, it's on the straight alloy wheels, looking lovely here in the car show, looking lovely in black. Really pleased to have it. Will we keep it, will we not? I expect so. But now for the last of the MG Z cars, and probably the best of the MG Z cars in my opinion, our MG ZT, but it's a special one. Let's take a look. Oh, it's a very special car. In many ways, one of my favourites. This is an MG ZT, but as you can see from the badge on the front, that pony badge, this is an MG ZT 260 with the glorious 4.6 V8 engine, the engine that was supplied by Ford. This is an SE, so it has the full leather interior, electric sunroof and satellite navigation, albeit we've changed that out. And this car is also here presented in the lovely monogram Mirage blue. I think it's one of only about a dozen or so cars that was produced in this particular colour, and one of only 218 of the MG ZT 260s produced in Mark I form with the quad headlights. It's one of my favourites. We've had this car since around sort of 2015, taken it to the Pride Longbridge a couple of times, and really just driven around Cornwall. It makes an absolutely glorious noise, but we're going to save that for the video and the full feature that we're going to do on this car. So please watch out for that one. But for now, this completes the lovely lineup of MGs that we have. The MGF Trophy 160, the MG ZR 160, the MG ZS 180, and our glorious MG ZT 260. The best of all 4 cars that were ever made. We love owning them. It's a privilege to own them, and we're really glad to share them with you. So on to the Rovers. So for the first of our Rovers, it's this, our glorious and fully restored Rover 800 Vitesse Sport Fastback. And this is the Sport, which means that it has a Silverstone cloth half leather interior with the Recaro seats. It's a beautiful car. It's got the 17-inch alloy wheels, the 2-litre T-Series 200 brake horsepower turbocharged engine, and here in one of the best colours, Oxford Blue. I also really like Nightfire Red, for those of you that are familiar with these cars. It's done about 88,000 miles. We've had the car stripped back, fully painted, the seats sorted out, the engine worked over, new tyres, the alloy wheels painted. We're going to feature all of that in a video specifically about this car. The reason I've got it, my dad had one many years ago when they were new. I absolutely loved it then as a child. I absolutely love it now as a 42-year-old. It's a beautiful car, one of my favourites in the collection. I know I've said that on a few occasions so far as we've gone around the cars. Probably my favourite Rover. I'm really pleased to show it to you today. But on to the next, something a little smaller, because this is a long car. So, and now onto something a little smaller. So this is an interesting car. This one's, I'd say, awaiting restoration. I'm not sure if we ever really will get round to doing it. But it's a Rover 200 VI. And as I understand it, one of less than sort of 25 left in the UK. This had the K-Series 1.8 engine, 143 brake horsepower in this car, with the beautiful half leather and red piped seats. One of my favourite things about this car. And you'll see it's one of 3 Rover 200 Rover 25s that we own. And being a VI, it's got that variable valve VVC engine, just like the MGF Trophy 160, just like the MG ZR 160, and just like the car we'll have a look at in a moment. Bought this one last year, bought it during lockdown. This car, right on the cusp, I would say, of going to the scrapyard, but we saved it. It's in the collection. It starts, it runs, it's looking good here, but there is a bit of body work to do, a bit of engine mechanical work to do, and a bit of tidying up inside. I'm sure we'll do it one day. It's just lovely to have it here in the field. I love it. I had a BRM back along. I'll show you a picture of that now. There you go. And this really was the car that came before that. So we've got this one. We've got the MG ZR that I showed you just now. Let's have a look at the last of the MG 200 or 25s that we've got in the collection. And it's this one. The super rare and the predecessor to the MG ZR, the Rover 25 GTI. Again, with that 1.8 litre K-Series engine with 143 brake horsepower. This car's got the hairpin alloy wheels, the black grille, which was unique to this car, and it should have orbital leather interior. It doesn't. This actually has a Monaco leather interior from an MG ZR, but don't panic, we have got an orbital leather interior. We will put that in this car one day. Again, we bought this last year. It's awaiting a bit of restoration work. We drove it for about sort of 6 months until the MOT expired. Great fun to drive, and yeah, a really lovely car here in British Racing Green. Now the mileage on the MG ZR is 82,000. The mileage on the 200 VI is about 76. I think this one's done 81,000 miles. So really worth saving these 3 cars. We're pleased to have it. Again, I think it's one of 30 that are left in the UK. We'll feature some more about this on its own video in the not too distant future. But for now, again, lovely to share it with you. And it certainly is a part of the Penntorr Cars collection for some time. Now for the last Rover, our daily driver at the moment. And well, it's cleaned up lovely for the show. Let's take a look. And here's our current daily, and what a daily it is. It's our Rover 75 Tourer, so estate. This one's a Club SE, so it has the digital air conditioning in this one. And we actually upgraded the wheels to the larger star spoke alloy wheels, which I think look really great on this car. We've still kept the original unions though, so don't panic. Now this has got the 2 litre BMW diesel engine. This is the 135 horsepower version of the car, so slightly more powerful than some of the Rover 75 diesels that are around. It's done about 92,000 miles, this car. We use it every day. It's absolutely brilliant. And whilst it is our daily, it's still a worthy attendee to the Penntorr Cars collection. Really love to see it here. And actually it bookends our 2 green Rovers really nicely with that Rover Vitesse fastback in the at the end of the line, and this one finishing it up. We've got one more vehicle to share with you. These are the 14 cars that we have at the moment. One more vehicle in the Penntorr Cars collection, and then we'll get on with the show. So the last car, well, it's a bit different. We've had it for about 13 years, and it's this. It's our Fiat Ducato based Adria Coral 670 SK. It's our camper van. And the boys and I are sleeping in it for the entire weekend. It's like our own little mini car show and festival. We've been all over the place in this camper van in the 13 years. It sleeps 6, there's only 3 of us. We have a whale of a time in it. And well, it would be wrong of me not to share with you this car as well as everything else that, that you've seen. So, hope you've liked the short tour of all the cars. Some cars that will be familiar to you and some that we yet to feature here on the channel. But rest assured, we will feature them all on the channel. So that's our current car collection. I really hope that you found that interesting. Next, we had the kids up from the local schools, so we put information sheets in each of the cars and got them to share interesting facts they learnt whilst walking around. They also had to vote on their favourite. It was a split decision in the end between the Ford Focus RS and the MG ZT 260 V8. But once they heard them start, it was the V8 that won the votes. The next day we had the Devon, Cornwall and Somerset XR Owners Club come along, and we were fortunate. The rain stopped at 10 AM and gave us a 5-hour window, giving us enough time to walk around the cars and for George to cook us a barbecue. We were joined by Graham in his Ford Sierra Sapphire GLS. He also brought along his BMW E46 330 Ci, which he parked next to our BMW E36 M3 Evolution, modelled here by Jensen, whose dad did a great job restoring the car at MK Body Shop in Plymouth. Do check them out. With 2021 being the 40th anniversary of the XR2, it was great to see Dave in his glorious Titan Blue Mark I Fiesta XR2. Lizzie and Andy came along in their Mercury Grey XR3i Cabriolet. Jamie and Scott in their Ford Orion 1600 injection gear. Simon and George in this lovely low mileage Millennium Puma, which looked great parked next to Stacey and Paul's Tangerine Scream Ford Focus ST. We also had a brief visit from Daisy and Rachel in their new Ford Transit Custom Sport. What a thing. With the rain returning around 3 o'clock that afternoon, everyone went home. And the following day, on Sunday, we hosted the family, and that's when it really rained. But with a short rain break, we all got around the cars before seeking shelter for some lunch. We had a fantastic weekend during our first car show, even with the rain. It felt like our own little festival. Car Fest. Hang on, I think that's been done. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I've really enjoyed sharing the current Penntorr Cars collection with you, and I promise that we'll feature each of the cars that you've seen today in their own video over the coming weeks and months. And I'm also going to share during that same period some changes that I've got planned for the collection, so please do stay tuned to the channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe, do hit like on this video and leave us a comment. We love to hear from you. Anyway, it's time now to get back to me in the past as I get all of those cars out of the field. Thanks so much for watching. From me, it's bye for now. Bye-bye.